It is Friday, and you are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson, and our show Eye on the Valley is brought to you by SCVi and iLead Schools. We are a network of free public charter schools with campuses in Castaic, Agua Dulce, Lancaster. We've got a fully accredited online school. We've got a home study program that's just blowing up called iLead Exploration. Visit us at iLeadschools.org, where you can get information on all 6 of our amazing charter schools. You just scroll down. You can click on any one of the school's logos. Like I said, we've got a home study program. We've got hybrid. We've got online. We've got campus-based in Lancaster and Agua Dulce. And then right here in town in Santa Clarita, we've got everything that your children need. Again, check us out at iLeadschools.org. So, yeah, we keep our eye on education in Santa Clarita and across the nation. But like the show says, we keep our eye on the Valley as well, bringing you everything that you need to know about what's what here in the Valley. And, we like to goof off and giggle and play around. So we have a lot of fun while we do it as well. So, indeed, happy Friday. Welcome in. That's right, Friday is finally here. You made it. We all made it. Friday is, it's kind of like New Year's, right? It's like a little mini New Year's. It's a bit of an arbitrary human-created milestone that we reach every week. But like New Year's, Friday is also a great opportunity to pause, celebrate, reflect. So let's do that together, shall we? Let's, you know what? Do this with me. Ask yourselves these questions, okay? So first off, we got to take stock a little bit. Ask yourself, what's the worst thing that happened this week? What's that worst thing? Oh, man. Starting the show with a downer. Well, that might have been rough, but you know what? You handled it. You got here, and not only did you survive, but you're probably stronger because of it. So way to go. You made it. Now, let's talk about this. What's the best thing that happened this week? What's the greatest thing that happened in your life? And even if it's not a big thing, we celebrate the small things as well. So what's the best thing that happened this week? It can be personal, professional, political, anything. But, when you think about it, think about those good things as well. It was awesome, wasn't it? Good job. Keep it up. Keep growing on those successes. Yes, it's important to look at our struggles, take stock, see how we might do things differently next time, but it's also important to celebrate our successes. Reflection is such an important part of a healthy life. Please make sure that you're taking time to reflect each day. So, Jen, I saw you do it. I won't ask you about the worst. I won't get intrusive. But what's the best thing that happened this week, Jen?
Oh, can I be completely honest?
Yes. Do it. I know where you're going.
My children went back to school yesterday.
For the win.
Yes, it's okay. I am a good mom. I love my children. They're adorable. It's time to get out of my house.
There we go.
Go back to school. Yeah.
There we go.
It's good
Celebrate
for everyone.
That win. And you know what? They'll be back tomorrow because tomorrow's Saturday.
Yeah.
So fantastic. That is great. Congratulations on the kids going back to school.
How about you? What was your good thing this week?
So I think my best thing, there was a lot of good things. And you think about personal, professional. There was a lot of great things. But just to put my finger on one of them, producer Sarah and I put together another fantastic show. I'm really excited about this show. It is jam-packed. We've got so much more going on this week than we do even on the typical week. So to start the show off, we've got the directors. How about that segue, by the way?
That was pretty smooth.
Right?
It's like peanut butter.
We have got the directors from SCVi Charter School joining me this week. Chad and Martha are on the line. We'll get to them in just a second. And then I'm really excited because we're kicking off a new segment on our show this week called College Corner. The getting your kid into college game has changed significantly over the past decade or so. But at iLead Schools, we've got an amazing group of college counselors at each one of our 6 schools that help crack the code for you and for your kid. And so what they're going to do is once a month, they're going to be coming on the show to talk about a different facet of college preparations and admissions and viability, everywhere from what you should be doing each year of high school to get your kid ready for college, how to select the proper college, how to make sure that your kid is college viable, because it's not enough to get them in college, but they got to stay in college, right? And then we'll also talk about preparing them for career as well. If you've got a kid that's looking forward to launching their career without heading to college, but we're calling it College Corner, and we start today. I'm super excited about that. We'll be talking this week to kick it off with Allison Bravo. She's Director of School Initiatives for iLead California. She kind of oversees all the different college counselors in our organization. And then in hour number 2, it's a jam-packed hour number 1. Then in hour number 2, we're going to have a lot of fun. We've got Hugo's Gymfitness coming in. We've got Hugo, and I think Hugo's bringing along his daughter, Nikki. So Hugo and Nikki from Hugo's Gym will be here. They both run the gym together, so that should be fun. And then speaking of fun, y'all know my big brother always comes in at the end of the show with his own unique brand of tomfoolery, trivia, and all-around goof-offiness. So we call it Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame, and, it's everybody's favorite segment of the show. At least it's Mom's favorite segment of the show. I'm sure it'll be yours too, but I'm kind of learning to resent the segment. I don't know. My big brother just comes in and swipes the show at the the last couple minutes.
Well, at least it's only 5 minutes.
There
you
we
can
go.
Look at it that way. There's
right?
your silver
right.
lining.
And, maybe that's just part of my own personal hang-up. Maybe this is going to be the worst thing that happens this week. So
Sure.
Whether we're getting to all the exciting content or we're going to get to my big brother so we can get it over with, let's get to it. As I said, my first guests today are the amazing school leaders at SCVi Charter School here on the west side of Santa Clarita. It's technically in Castaic, but it's right off of Newhall Ranch Road, so it's right there on the west side of town. Martha Spansel-Pellico, she earned her bachelor's degree in English and secondary teaching credential from the Master's College right here in Newhall. And, she got her master's degree in educational leadership and her administrative credential from the University of Laverne. She's got, I believe, 18 years experience in school administration alone, and all of her 24 years of educational experience at local schools here in Santa Clarita. And her partner, Chad Powell, earned his bachelor's degree in teaching credential from Fresno State. He's a Bulldog. Got his master's and administrative credential from Cal State Northridge. So a Bulldog and a Matador, that's quite a pair. And like Martha, he's served at local schools here in Santa Clarita for well over 2 decades with extensive administrative experience. The two of them are just an absolute powerhouse team, and they pair up to lead SCVi. Martha, Chad, welcome back to Eye on the Valley.
Hey, good morning, Matt. Thank you.
Glad to have you guys in. Thanks so much for joining us. I know you guys have already kicked off the school year and you're busy this morning, so I appreciate you setting aside some time. So, we're about, maybe a week and a half in. You just launched another school year at SCVi. So how did the launch go? How are things going so far?
Yeah, it went great. It's a good launch. We were excited about the school year and the new programs that we're putting in this year.
Fantastic. So you got kids back, families back. One of the things I love most about your campus is that it's a comprehensive campus. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but you are the only comprehensive public school in Santa Clarita, meaning kids can go to your school from TK all the way through 12th grade. It's a beautiful thing when big brothers and big sisters come pick up the little brothers and little sisters, and everybody skips off together and heads home for the weekend. But, let's face it, it's not easy running a school here in Santa Clarita. The traditional public schools in this town perform pretty well. Everybody talks about how they moved to this town for the schools. So the folks who send their kids to SCVi do so because they're looking for something different. They're looking for something unique, and you guys offer that unique experience. So tell us, what is that SCVi difference? What makes your school so great?
Well, to start off, our pillars are project-based learning, social emotional learning, and individualized education. Those are just the main tenets that we really focus on when we're trying to educate our kids.
Right, and those are our modalities. I think, those set us apart from the other schools. But I think some of the other pieces, in addition to what you mentioned about being the K-12 comprehensive school, is that although all the schools around here, you rightly said, are good schools, and the people care that are there, I don't know of any school that sets their actual purpose to be to create connections with families, to build community and belongingness. Those are the things that allow us to deliver really a world-class education that goes above and beyond in terms of what we expect from our outputs. So it is that focus on belonging and connection, I think that really sets us apart.
Fantastic. And like like we like to say, you guys offer, well, we'll get into that a little bit later, but you guys offer what has come to be known as kind of that private school experience at the public school price, which is, of course, free 99. But Martha, you talked about project-based learning. Why is that important? Why is it that you all choose a project-based learning curriculum for your school?
Well, we just believe that it just really brings, lets kids collaborate naturally over certain topics. It teaches them 21st century skills, those skills that they're going to need in the workplace. It also just revolves around their natural curiosity. They have some interest in something, and then they put that interest towards solving relevant problems. And we just see engagement just skyrocket because the learners are interested in what they're learning.
And so how does that roll out? Can you maybe explain a little bit about what the process of project-based learning is? Like, what does it look like? What are the kids doing instead of kind of the typical textbook lecture way that most of us, quite honestly, are used to class taking place?
Amen. Well, it starts with an interesting question. And that question should spur on some natural curiosity. For example, in one of our history classes last year, they were talking about different conflicts that were involved at that grade level. I think it was an 8th grade class at that time. I think they were getting ready to start talking about the Civil War. And the essential question, or the interesting question that was there, had to do with something that we had discussed previously, and it was, is there ever a good reason for war? And the answer can be yes or no. That wasn't really material. But
right.
What was important is that interesting question spurred on research and allowed the teacher to deliver all of the standards, but not in a way that you need to know this for the test, in the way that you need to know this information to come up with an answer to the question.
What an amazing question to launch a short unit, right? Is there ever a good reason to go to war? I can imagine it sparked a ton of debate. Obviously, kids will get into all the research and then they just kind of start learning almost by happenstance. That is an amazing question. What are some of the other projects that you've seen over the last, it's been 4 or 5 years since you guys have been at SCVi. What are some of your favorite projects?
Well, we do every year. A lot of our teachers roll out, especially in the middle grades, they roll out the identity project, where kids dive into exploring different parts of their identity and who they are. We see in the high school, upper school, 10th grade passion project. That's another one where they spend some time, find out what's their passion, and spend some time diving into that passion and create a project and invite all the parents in, and then they talk about their passion and their project that they created. As well as another one that they have to launch their defense to graduate, so senior defenses, and it's something that they work on throughout their 4 years when they get to the upper school.
Yeah, absolutely. And then at the lower school, we've recently seen last year some fun projects that included a Mars rover project that was fun.
Oh, wow.
There was the younger kids did a unit on what was called, or a project on what was called biomimicry, which was just looking at the way that animals fly in nature and how man flight copies that. And all these things are engaging kids every day.
Wow, that is phenomenal. So you guys have got some great projects happening, but you guys as school leaders have launched some pretty cool programs since your time at SCVi. For example, not long after the two of you joined the school, you launched a dual language immersion program. Can you explain to parents what that is and how it works?
Right. The dual language immersion program, we know that there's such advantages of being able to speak Spanish in California. And so what we did is we entered into an agreement with the ministries of education in both Spain and Mexico to tap into their visiting teacher program. These are expert teachers, veteran teachers in their countries who want to come and teach and live in the United States. And so we bring these teachers over. We pair them with a regular California teacher with the goal of 50% Spanish and 50% English. And the kids they're not only receiving the instruction in Spanish, but they're also learning the culture of Spain and Latin America. It's really an impressive program. When they go all the way through our program and continue into high school, and no one is going to ask them as adults where they're from.
Right. Yeah, that's amazing, and it is really important. I read something years ago saying that by the year 2020, half of the people in America will speak Spanish, and so I'm sure that's been superseded already, and that's become a widely popular program here around town. You guys have also, pun intended, you launched an aerospace focus. You've made aerospace a particular focal point at your school. Can you explain how you've done that and why that's important? And then tell our listeners what happens with the aerospace programming and career preparation once we get into the high school grades.
Oh, absolutely. So we decided for looking around what was needed in our valley, and what we saw is that although aerospace has been a tremendous or have had tremendous impact on the economy and the history of Southern California, there's no other program in the valley that focuses on aviation and aerospace. So we wanted to fill that gap. And so K through 12, our learners are doing projects based all around aviation, aerospace, space, these sort of things. Some of the highlights of that include our soaring project, where our 8th graders, based on their physics science credential, get to actually fly real gliders with a pilot behind them up into Tehachapi. We had our Dream Up to Space program, where we had a Team Bamboo. They submitted a proposal in a one competition to see how bamboo seeds can germinate in microgravity. Their experiment was sent up last year or earlier this year to the International Space Station and was sent down. And then at our high school, to what you're talking about, we've opened a career technical education pathway specifically designed towards aviation. We brought together a group from NASA and industry leaders. We asked them what is going to be the fastest growing area that we could prepare our students for in industry and aviation. And they said that was going to be in unmanned aircraft piloting drones. And so we put drones at the center of our program. Our learners who are going to that program can even start earning credit towards a drone pilot license. And for the fun of it, we even created a drone soccer team with our own arena.
I love that. Wow, drone piloting, airplane piloting, launching stuff into space. Gosh, you guys are doing some amazing things and really preparing kids for those relevant careers. I know there's already a huge dearth of pilots with a massive generation of pilots retiring in the last few years. And then just here in Santa Clarita alone, I know you all have done your research. There's over 70 aerospace companies employing people here in Santa Clarita. So great idea. And then, so you've really ramped up the academic rigor, given kids some very relevant academic skills to go on in life with. But social emotional learning, as Martha said, is still central to what you do. Chad, can you explain why that's important and how you do it at SCVi?
It is central. And I think that this is one of the things that is most important to us. I mean, you mentioned earlier in the show that all schools are going to care about kids' emotion and how they're doing.
Yep.
And some schools will even have something called a wellness center on campus.
Yep.
But I know of no school that actually puts this social emotional wellness at the center of what they're doing and requires that kids get experience with this every day. Really, for us, social emotional learning is just a matter of thinking in healthy ways. Learning not to catastrophize, learning how to reframe, focusing on growth mindset and optimism, and learning skills to resolve peer conflict and such. So this is one of our chartering pieces, and it's something that we take very seriously. It also goes towards how we even handle something like school discipline, where we are very much into restorative processes. In fact, our entire staff is certified in restorative processes as a way of even approaching discipline in a way that's going to have better social emotional results.
That is incredible. Martha Spansel-Pellico and Chad Powell, the administration team at SCVi Charter School, joined me this morning. Martha, I know you've got to get to class. You teach an English class in the mornings on Fridays. And so when we get back, Chad's going to continue with us some new opportunities that you're offering your learners and that families can take advantage of. Stick around. I'm Matt Watson. This is SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. You're listening to your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. Co-director of SCVi Charter School, Chad Powell, joins me this morning. SCVi is your free public charter school here in Santa Clarita. And Chad, I want to address that because quite a while ago, not long after you joined SCVi, you touched on something that I don't know had ever been phrased the way you phrased it. I've heard you describe SCVi as a private school experience with the public school price, which is, of course, free, taxpayer paid. So private school experience, public school price. What do you mean by that, Chad?
Well, it's right there. I mean, it's something that is front and center for our staff all the time, and I make sure that we keep it there. We want to approach education differently, and part of that is understanding that we really need to treat families as valued customers. That we want to make sure that this is a place every year, being a charter school. Every year, families make a separate decision to attend. It's not like we're the neighborhood school where it's just this is where you go. We have to make sure that we create fans every year of our school because we know every year families make an independent decision to return to us. And that's important to us that we maintain that tight community that we here at school.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that already answers one of the main questions that I always get when I tell people that I work at a charter school. People ask me, okay, so how are you different from a public school? Well, we are a public school, again, completely tuition free. But Chad, if you're a public school, which neighborhoods or sectors are able to attend your school? Are there, is it just limited neighborhoods? No.
In fact, part of being the charter is that we can draw from all adjoining counties. But no, there are no particular neighborhoods. If you want to come to SCVi, and I'd imagine if you can hear this broadcast, you're in our range, then we have a place for you here.
Fantastic. Yeah. So you even get folks coming out from Ventura County, which quite honestly isn't that far from your campus. You have folks drive down from Kern County and of course all over here in town in Santa Clarita. So pretty much anyone who can get to your school can attend, right?
That's right. Yes.
Okay, and I also understand, Chad, you even help with folks that might struggle getting to your school. So for some areas that are a little further away, I understand you provide transportation. You provide a bus?
We do. For our families that are living out in Piru and Fillmore, we know that can be a little bit of a drive coming into Santa Clarita Valley. We do run a bus every single day out to the Piru and Fillmore area.
Okay, so wow, so yeah, bringing kids in from that Piru Fillmore area. Gosh, I bet their parents absolutely love that. So
yes,
while you do provide, like you said, that private school experience for the free public school price, do the same sort of public school requirements apply? Like, do you follow the same curriculum? Do you have to test your kids at the end of the year? That kind of thing?
This is where I think charter schools really shine because I think the families have the advantage of the best of both worlds. Not only is it free to come here because we're a public school, but our teachers have to meet the same credentialing requirements. We have the same expectations of addressing the California state standards. Our students are tested on exactly the same tests, which can be compared to other students there. But on the flip side, like you mentioned, we understand that retaining families here is essential to us being able to continue. And we want to make sure that families feel connected and they feel part of this community just like a private school does. Also, like a private school, based on the fact that we're a charter, we don't necessarily have to be everything for everyone. We get to choose the areas in which we want to excel, and we get to have control over our own curriculum. And so those are some elements that set us apart.
Wow. Okay. Fantastic. So that's interesting. So you're saying private school experience, public school price, but unlike private schools, your teachers all have to have valid California credentials. You have to follow the state curriculum. So actually almost kind of sets you apart in yet another way. So gosh, you've got all this stuff going on. You're not even a full 2 weeks into the school year yet, Chad. So if families are just now learning about you, because that's one of the things I hear most often when families call and say, why didn't I hear about you earlier? Well, if families are just now hearing about you, is there still time for them to enroll at SCVi this year? Do they need to wait for the semester break, or is it they're out of luck until next year?
Well, that's a good question, Matt. Thank you. We have a lottery every year where families can get in. And then after that lottery, any spaces that we have still, we open up to open enrollment. But Matt, I'll be honest, your families are going to have to move quickly. We have interest every single day to fill some of those spots. So I would really encourage families, if what we're talking about sounds interesting to you, come and claim one of those spots quickly.
Fantastic. Good idea. So nice to know that you're still enrolling. So if they are excited about it, how do they come and claim one of those spots, or is there any way for them to learn more, get more information? How do families claim one of those spots?
Sure, absolutely. The easiest way is to go right onto our website and to check out the school there. But what would actually be even more useful is to just set up an appointment for a tour. We run tours, several tours a month. And if there is more urgency there, I would encourage to call the school, set up a meeting where we can talk about the school. We also have our open house happening on September 4th. We're going to do an information night at 5 o'clock for prospective families. And then we open up the campus and our teachers for them as well. So there's opportunities to learn more about the school. But again, I would encourage families to come in quickly, get a good start.
So, gosh, there's a lot of opportunities, and I want to unpack some of them. So you said the easiest way to find out more information is to visit your website. What's that website, Chad?
That is, let's see, I have right here, iLead Santa Clarita.
Okay, .org, correct?
.org, yes.
Okay, fantastic. iLeadSantaClarita.org, and folks can see all about your school. And then is that where they sign up for a tour, is on the website?
Yep, they can sign up for a tour there. But one of the things, Matt, there was a hack that you gave on an earlier show that I thought was a good workaround there. If once you go on that, once you take a look at the school, there's really nothing stopping you from saying, hey, you know what, I want to hold one of these spots just in case. There's an enrollment spot you could start right there, and it does not automatically disenroll your child from their current school. It's a way maybe to get your foot in the door while you are still making up your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. It's holding your place in line, and then you can come and take that tour. And if you don't like it, if it's not the place for you, then you just pull your application. There's no fees involved or anything like that. Now, Chad, you mentioned that you've got your back to school night coming up at 5 o'clock on September 4th. But did I hear you right? You're inviting families who haven't joined yet but are considering it. You're going to do an informational session for them, and then they can join your other families while they go to back to school night and kind of see what the school's all about?
Right. At the beginning of every school year, we always get a lot of interest from families. And like you said, sometimes they find out late, like what is this school, or they hear it, or something is happening there. So we are inviting all prospective families at 5 o'clock in our theater to meet, learn about the school, and then our actual open house starts at 5:30. And so they can see the campus, meet the teachers, do all these sort of things.
What a great idea. So families come, kind of hear about the basic program, and then they get to sort of see it in action as a family member who's joining the back-to-school night as teachers are giving their presentations, and then they can take a tour of the school. What a great idea. Again, that is September 4th at 5 p.m. But like Chad said, I would encourage you to get on the website, iLeadSantaClarita.org. Start filling out the application. You can pull your application later if you decide it's not the place for you. But if you decide that SCVi is that high-quality public education with the private school feel, leave your application in, and hopefully you'll get one of those last few seats that they have available this year. Again, September 4th, 5 p.m., new orientation for families, for prospective families. Open house starts at 5:30. And yeah, check them out at iLeadSantaClarita.org. I know she's in class already, but Martha Spansel-Pellico and to you, Chad Powell, directors of SCVi Charter School, your free public school in Santa Clarita, open for enrollment to students TK through 12th grade. That's right, one school until college, offering dual language immersion international baccalaureate studies, an aerospace career pathway, an extensive visual and performing arts program, and so much more. Again, check them out at iLeadSantaClarita.org. Sign up for a tour, peruse the website, start filling out your application, and get to that back-to-school night with information for prospective families September 4th, 5 p.m. Chad, thank you. You and Martha both have a great weekend. We appreciate you coming in.
Thank you, Matt. We appreciate it, too.
Take care. Coming up next, we've got the first installment of a new and exciting segment here on the show called College Corner. How to get your kids into college and succeed once they get there. I'm Matt Watson. You're listening to SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. We'll be right back on your hometown station, KHTS.